We have to take a turn because we are continuing coverage of something I am very interested in, the newly created opportunity zones. When I first heard about them, I thought they were a great idea meant to help some of our poorer areas get some investment. But we're taking a closer look at how the friends and family and possibly the president himself could directly benefit from this new program. Earlier this week, we brought you the news that Kushner companies are investing big in an opportunity zone in New Jersey that, oddly enough, is beachfront property. Look how beautiful that is. Certainly not a downtrodden area. And that area is all within the designated zone for these big old tax breaks. And today, I am part of a news story here at NBC News laying out other ways in which Trump and his friends may benefit. Let's begin with Richard Lefrak. Do you know this man's name? He's a big-time real estate developer and a longtime pal of the president. On many, many weekends, you could see him with the president, Mar-a-Lago. On the night of the midterms, he was actually watching the election results at the White House with President Trump. Well, take a look at your screen. He's got a $4 billion development in North Miami, right smack dab in the middle of an opportunity zone. But here's what I want you to pay attention to. This development, he started it several years ago. He's not incentivized now to go to this area and possibly invest. He made the decision several years ago. But because the project's not done and they're still investing, he's going to get massive tax benefits. That's called a windfall because he wasn't incentivized to go there. He was already doing it. So now he's getting hooked up. Another opportunity zone in Greenville, Mississippi. This is home to a Trump Organization project. Plans were already underway for a hotel redevelopment, but work has not yet begun, and any new projects in the area could be eligible for these tax breaks. So that is the Trump Organization. Now, they also run a golf course in New Jersey that, you guessed it, falls within an opportunity zone. With the right maneuvering, this existing property, that means they could reinvest, they could do some upgrades, it could benefit from these big old tax breaks. My panel is back with me. Steve Schmidt, Mark Thompson. Mark, to you first. This is exactly why we insist our leaders divest and disclose.
And we insist on tax returns as well. But I'm not surprised about this at all. Trump and the Kushners, they've all been about self-enrichment. As you said, many of these zones people have already invested in. There's already been gentrification.
You go to Williamsburg, Brooklyn. If there's a Soho house in your neighborhood, you don't need a tax break.
Right. And then I believe also one of the areas is on Long Island where Amazon is on its way anyway. So this is a way.
Long Island City, Queens.
You're right, Long Island City, Queens. So this is a way to enrich themselves and enrich their friends. That's what they're all about. It's obviously why Trump ran for office in the first place. And it's all the more reason why he's corrupt and he's got to go.
Steve, here's what's sad. I think the opportunity zones are an amazing idea. And if implemented correctly, could make a huge impact in this country. But isn't the issue that we keep going back to is that this administration, we're always questioning, are they putting their business interests and self-dealing first? When I think about the financial crisis, whether I think Tim Geithner and Hank Paulson made the right decisions is neither here nor there. Never during that time did I think, are they making these decisions because it's good for their personal business first? And that's where we are with this amazing program of opportunity zones as I'm going, I'm sorry, what? Williamsburg, Brooklyn?
The question about whether the president and people around him are enriching themselves through his service as president is not a speculative question. It's happening. The corruption is unspeakable. We are living in one of the most corrupt periods in the history of the country, which is saying something. It's extraordinary. And everywhere you look, you see corruption and the rage of the American people that manifested itself in the election of Donald Trump is part of it. Because what they see and what they're so rightly angry about is that there's one set of rules for people at the top, and there's a different set of rules for everybody else. Trump, his family, and his associates are at the top. And increasingly, when you look at all of this, we're functioning like a banana republic. And it's certainly an apt comparison. I mean, the type of stuff that you're seeing go on is what you would see go on in Zaire in the 1970s. It's just extraordinary. And so for any U.S. attorney out there looking to make a name for themselves. This is a fertile field to go harvest. And when we look at this era, we see the next presidential election coming. Dollars to donuts, the reform effort is coming, and you're going to have politicians jumping on this, but we're going to be debating for the next 10 years about how we clean this mess up.
The sad thing about it is he tricked a lot of people into voting for him who voted against this very type of behavior. And unfortunately, some of them are still being fooled, but I think we just saw in these midterms that's about to change, and hopefully we'll continue to.
I would say it's not unspeakable. It's absolutely speakable, and we're going to continue to cover it. I'm going to keep asking the question. Somebody answer. Richard Lefrak, you started that project over 4 years ago. You didn't need an opportunity zone. You were going to do it win, lose, or draw. Why on earth do you deserve a massive windfall? Please, I invite you to join me any day.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.